Okay. This is not being very supportive today. It's very wobbly. Let's see. Sorry guys, I'm shaking all over the place. If you've already joined me, I'm trying to get my camera set up and it is just, my tripod is wiggly. Okay, let's pull that up just a tad. That looks pretty decent. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Hello, hello. I am going to log in on YouTube and then we'll begin class. Okay, good. I am here. There are 7 of you watching, so make sure to say hello in the comments so I know that you are here. Hi, Kumar. Good to see you again. See how far this can reach. I think that'll be okay. Okay. So welcome. Hi everyone. My name is Leslie Germain and this is Flow. This is actually the last community flow on Monday led by me. The only community classes on YouTube will now be Jen Prue's Saturday 9 a.m. class. So make sure to register for those and continue supporting Breathe. I will still be teaching. I will just be teaching on Zoom for Breathe at 8 to 9 a.m. in the morning tomorrow on Tuesdays. So I'll be on the Breathe schedule Tuesdays 8 to 9 a.m. Otherwise, you can find me on my Zoom or my YouTube. You can just look down on any of my old videos or look up Leslie Germain Yoga to find me there. I do a Zoom on Fridays though, and since this is my last Monday class, I'm gonna do a Monday 12 to 1 Zoom as well. So if that is something that you're interested in, find me on Facebook or Instagram or email me at LeslieRGermain@gmail.com and we can still practice together. And it's really nice on Zoom because I can see you and provide feedback. If you haven't tried that before yet, I'm really enjoying it and I get to play music. And if you've ever taken my classes in person, you know that I really love to play music that helps us during certain times of the class. So when we're speeding up, you know, the music will be a little bit more fun and playful. And then Shavasana is nice and relaxing. And it's just a really fun part for me to be able to play that again. All right, so let's find our way down onto our backs in Happy Baby Pose to begin our practice today. And closing your eyes while you're in your Happy Baby. And starting to settle in. Notice how not just your physical body feels right now, like your hips or your legs might be kind of angry. If they are, you don't have to have your hands on your feet. You can actually just grab your shins and hang out here. You can even grab underneath the backs of the knees and hug in. I don't want you to go like at your fullest flexibility right now because we just started moving, yeah? And then maybe start to sway left to right, left to right. So check in with your physical body. And more importantly, check in with the breath and check in with that emotional body. How are you feeling right now, this Monday afternoon? Allow your feet to drop down to the ground, a little wider than the hips. Knees point up to the sky. Inhale as your hips lift, lift your arms up overhead until eventually the tops of the hands touch down and your hips are lifted, you know, like 90% of where they could probably go. Exhale, lower. Moving into some rolling bridges here. Inhale, push the feet as you lift the hips. Arms rise. And once your palms touch or tops of the hands touch, lift, maybe the heels lift, just to add a little bit more extension along the front body. Exhale, lower. And let's do that about 8 more times. Moving with your own breath, inhaling as you rise, exhaling as you lower. So you'll notice today I'm going to give a little bit of freedom to explore. So options in this rolling bridge is maybe you don't roll. Maybe you stay up and bridge and you interlace your fingers underneath your back so you don't do a full 10. Or maybe you take your elbows down to the ground and let your hands support your low back and then just let your back release. It's a little bit of a stretch back there. You just play. It's your choice. We'll move for about 5 more breaths wherever you decided to go, whether it's a stagnant movement or one where you continuously move with your breath. And see if you can keep your eyes closed. For some of us, it's really easy, and for some of us, it's very hard. Closing our eyes makes us feel kind of nervous, anxious, and when we practice moving with our eyes closed, our body learns to let go of that anxiety, let go of that fear. Okay, reclined butterfly, feet together, knees go wide. Bring one hand to your heart, the other to your belly. So if your knees can't find they're all the way down to the ground, don't worry about it. Just push your feet together and allow your knees to stay lifted however feels good in your body. If this doesn't feel good at all, extend the legs out long. And we're going to play with square breath here as you inhale to the count of 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the bottom. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Inhale. And taking your time moving through that type of breath. Eyes stay closed. And if you're holding your breath or exhaling and holding that breath so much that you're tensing up the shoulders, don't go quite as deep in the inhale and exhale. Go so far where you're still soft in the body. Maybe start to shift your head left to right slowly as you continue this breath pattern. Is the inhale harder to hold or the exhale? Last square breath. And let it out through the mouth. Beautiful. Drawing your knees into your chest, hugging in tight, and then either rolling to your side or rocking and rolling up to a comfortable seat. Actually, yeah, let's come to a seat. So we're going to do a little twisting here. Inhale as you send your arms up. Exhale, circle wide. Inhale, open wide. Exhale. Last one. Inhale, lift your arms. Finding your wrist at the top, right hand grabs the left wrist. Pull up and then lean over to your right. Maybe you gaze up to the sky. So you can stay here with your hand holding on to your wrist, or if it feels better, interlacing your fingers, pointing your palms up to the sky. And if you want to go a little bit deeper, allow the right hand to drop down to the ground as you continue leaning over to your right. So you can have a nice deep bend in that elbow as you continue leaning and stretching from that hip all the way up the lateral side of the body. Should feel really nice. Keep your eyes closed if you can, especially once you know what I'm doing. Sometimes we have to open our eyes and be like, what the heck is she talking about? And once we see what the heck I'm talking about, we can go back in. One more breath here. Beautiful. Inhale, coming back up. This time, exhale, hands come to heart center. We're gonna go through the inner body. Inhale, lift through the center. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Last one, inhale, pushing your arms up. This time, left hand grabs around the right wrist. And do an, what is it? External rotation? Is that what I'm doing? No, that's an internal rotation. Internal rotation. So we're drawing our thumb down when we're reaching up. Okay, so you can stay here, interlace the hands, or left hand comes down to the ground. And we'll be here about 5 breaths, just long enough where your body can start to open up. Because if we rush through this kind of pose, then we're not going to give enough time for our body to settle and lengthen. So notice with an inhale here, can you reach those fingertips a little further away to the side? Every breath helps us go deeper in a pose. The breath guides us. We don't force our body to go anywhere. The breath brings us there as long as we listen to it. Inhale back up. This time, inhale, both arms reach up. And we twist over to the right as we reach our arms away from each other. Left hand goes to the right knee. Right hand comes behind us. Maybe you stay here. Or maybe you take that right hand and reach it behind for a half bind. If you're able to find a foot, cool. If not, it's fine. Just let it go where it is. And once you bring your hand back there, draw that right shoulder blade back. So we're doing a deep opening in the front of the body. And then close your eyes. I really want you to feel this one. Let your breath guide you. Inhale, feel the breath move up the spine. And on your exhale, feel that space you just created and maybe twist a little deeper into that. Feel your breath. Inhale. Exhale. And on the exhale, you can actually twist just a little bit deeper with the breath guiding you, right? Try it 3 more times. And if you want to play with a little neck stretch here, take your right ear over to your right shoulder for your final 2 breaths. Beautiful, unwind. Shoulder rolls here, taking your hands to your shoulders, fingers to your shoulders, just making big circles. So if you notice, I'm starting a little slower today. By now, we'd usually be doing a Surya Namaskar or some kind of sun salutation, my own variation. But the weather's so humid in California that I just feel like we need to open up the body a little slower today and not go so hard. Like I'm already sweating because of this like atmospheric river that is in California. Inhale, send your arms up. Exhale, twist over to the left. Right hand comes down to the knee, left hand drops behind you. You can stay here the whole time. Close your eyes. Feel the breath on the inhale. Expand each space between the vertebrae. And on the exhale, the belly will soften and we can twist a little deeper. And if you chose to go for the half bind, maybe that left hand crosses over, reaching for the thigh, or just that low back. We'll be here about 5 more breaths, peeling that left shoulder head back. And then if you wanted to do a neck stretch at the same time, left ear to left shoulder. Inhale, come back through center. Opening up your eyes. So did you feel that difference when you let your breath guide you in that twist versus like just janking yourself into it? You know what I mean? Like we just pull, we're like, oh, I'm gonna go into it. But if you allow your breath to move, you can actually find that beautiful space and it just feels nice. At least it does for me. Okay, tabletop position. I like to do things that feel nice for me, assuming it works for everybody, but it might not. Okay, we're gonna start to draw the hips back, take that right hand back and over, and then pull it back through. Big circles of that left arm. And then reversing direction. Arm reaches back, forward. It's like you're gonna shake somebody's hand in front of you. Last one. Inhale, send that left arm up high. Exhale, thread it through. Rest the temple to the ground. Maybe the right arm reaches up towards the front of the mat. And if you want to add on to here, perhaps that right leg reaches out. Inner spiral of that front thigh. For 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Drop the knee. Hand comes under the shoulder as you inhale. Send that left arm up. Exhale. Left hand comes down to the ground. Puppy pose. Keep the hips lifted over the knees. So many times I'll see people come into like a child's pose with the hips reaching back and then pushing the chest down. But if you really want to open up through the chest and through those armpits and shoulder area, you want to keep the hips high and just keep walking your hands out as far as you can. Eventually you can drop your forehead down to the ground, your nose, or your chin. If you have any low back pain at all, slightly draw the belly button into the spine and allow the movement to open in the top body versus the low back. One more breath. Beautiful, walking yourself back into tabletop position. This time we're going to do our right hand as we shift our hips back. Right hand pulls back, up overhead, and forward. Do that a few more times. And then reverse direction. Really allow that shoulder to twist. Beautiful. Inhale, sending that right arm up to the sky. Exhale, thread it through. And whatever you did on the other side, whether you stay here and push the left hand into the ground, as you push that left shoulder head off the ground. So notice the shoulder head's down, and then I push and lift. That gives me a nice stretch in the side body. Or you can take that left hand out in front of you, and then maybe that left foot. You can keep the toes down, and eventually maybe the foot lifts. If you're used to doing the right leg instead of the left, that's okay. I just like to play with my balance and changing my legs up sometimes. One more breath. Exhale, knee down, hand to shoulder. Inhale, lift that right arm up. Exhale, tabletop position. Walk your hands out in front of you, about one handprint, as you tuck the toes and lift the knees for turbo dog. Keep those knees lifted just a few inches off the ground. So we started nice and gentle, now we're starting to build heat. See if you can spread the shoulder blades apart a little bit, protract the shoulder blades. It's like a little dome in the upper back. And then maybe take that right knee over to the right tricep. Keep it bent in that left knee if you can. And then keep pushing your hands, protracting the shoulder blades, left foot back down. Let's do that one more time on each side. This is basically like a half crow. So feel that lift in the hips, the protraction of the shoulder blades. Right foot comes down, left foot. You can do it. We'll do a child's pose right after this. Hold here for 2. Shift your shoulders a little further forward for 1. Exhale, beautiful. Child's pose. Bring your arms down to your sides. Rest your forehead or rest a cheek down to the mat. Start to settle your breath. Notice if it started to get a little shallow there. That's okay, that's normal. But we want to see how quickly we can come back to that steady breath. So we're not doing our whole practice like, we want the nice slow. So when I say inhale, we inhale the whole inhale. When I say exhale, we exhale the whole exhale. And then we're moving with our breath, right? That's yoga, the union. Okay, downward facing dog. I wish you could see my dog right now. He's right there. I don't know if you can see him, but it is ridiculously cute. Oh my God. He knows I'm talking about him. He just rolled on his back so he could pet his belly. And your downward facing dog, start to walk your dog here. If you like to rainbow the feet, draw over the heels over to the right and then let them lower back down to the ground. If you want to feel a deep side stretch here, bend the knees a lot while pushing the hips away from you. So you'll feel this along the left side of the body. The more you bend the knees and push the hips back. It's like a little twist, and more you'll feel it. And then lift the heels back up and allow the hips to lower to the left. You can stay here with the legs a little bit straight or bend those knees as you push your hands into the ground to find more lift in the spine. One more breath. Beautiful. Inhale, send your heels up. Exhale, walk yourself to the front of the mat. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, soften the knees, forward fold. Inhale, rooting the feet, sweeping your arms up overhead. Exhale, hands, palms together as they travel to heart center as you close your eyes. And go back inside to pause and feel. So 8 years ago today, I was about 42 weeks pregnant with my first child. Her birthday is tomorrow. So 8 years ago, it was a Friday. And I am somebody who carries my babies really long. Both of my babies were 10 days overdue. So today I'm just very melancholy, remembering those feelings. If any of my mothers are in here who have been pregnant 42 weeks or even 30-something weeks, it's miserable after that, right? So my intention today is to allow myself to feel that joy and that excitement of the unknown. You know, of being a parent. And we still have that, right? That unknown of today, not just in parenting, but with everything going on in our world, we have this fear and anxiety, which is normal, wrapped around the unknown. But see if maybe you can feel a little bit of the joy and curiosity and the excitement of what's going to happen because of this large global demanded shift. Will we slow down? Will we check in more? Will we take these things that we used to take for granted and maybe hold on to them a little longer? So I'm going to let you sit here for the next 30 seconds or so and ask yourself, what is the gift that you're going to keep from all of this? How can you find joy through the challenges of life, through the unknowns? Beautiful. Releasing your hands down to your sides. Inhale, sweeping up all that joy to a big circle until you press your palms together. I'm coming down to my knees, but don't worry about that. I just wanted to show you my hands. Index fingers together, palms face up. Lean over to your right for reed pose. You can have your feet together or hip distance apart. Inhale up through center, lengthen. Exhale over to your left. Inhale back through center, releasing your hands, finding them behind your back. And then push your booty out. So we're going to do a little banana back here, right? Push the booty out. And draw the shoulder blades down your back. As you lift the sternum away from the rib cage. One more breath. So this is just a little back bend here, and we're keeping it in the upper back. So when we do this little anterior tilt of the pelvis, it allows us to find more space in the low back. So then we can access the thoracic a little bit more. So don't feel like you need to push your hips forward here. Keep the booty out. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Hands reach over as far as they can reach. Bring your hands down to your feet. Take that right foot back. High lunge, keeping your fingertips on the ground. Chest draws forward. Exhale as you start to straighten that front leg as much as you can. Rooting more weight into that front foot. Start to bend that back knee. And then slowly draw your knees together into a flamingo pose. So both knees are together. That right foot can be down on the ground if you need it. Otherwise, allow the foot to lift off the ground. And try to keep the chest parallel with the ground as you bring your fingertips and palms together. Heart center. Keeping your feet in flamingo. Inhale, lift the chest, standing tall. Kick the leg out in front of you. as high as you can. For 3, 2, 1. Exhale, lower that right foot down to the ground. Inhale, send your arms up. Interlace the fingers, palms point up. This time, exhale over to your left side first. Inhale through center. Exhale to your right. Inhale through center. Exhale, interlacing your hands behind your back. Stick the booty out, draw the sternum up, gazing towards the sky. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale. Exhale, hands come down to the ground. This time the left foot comes back into that lunge. Chest draws forward, shoulder heads peel back. Exhale, lifting the hips as you slowly try to straighten that leg. It's okay if there's a bend. We've barely done anything, right? Let it be, as the Beatles say. Okay, we're going to come back into that flamingo pose. So root that right foot. I like to bend the knee and just feel the transfer of weight. And then slowly I do a little jump. Left leg reaches knee to knee. Like I said, left toes can graze the ground. That's okay. Once you feel balanced, squeeze the hamstring and then draw the palms together, keeping your chest parallel with the ground. For 3, 2, 1. Inhale, send the chest up, standing tall, still in that flamingo position with the leg. And then kick that leg out in front of you. For 3, you can have the foot pointed or flexed, it doesn't matter. 2. And 1. Exhale, left leg lowers. So we're going to do that one more time on each side, so it feels a little organic and familiar to our body. Inhale, arms reach up, interlace the fingers. Exhale, read to your right side. Inhale through center. Exhale to your left. Inhale up. Exhale, find your hands behind your back. Banana back. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Hands come down to the ground. Which foot? Yeah, right foot back. Low, or it's a high lunge because I'm keeping the knee lifted. But if you want to drop your knee, that's fine too. Exhale, shift the hips back into a pyramid variation. Inhale, and then exhale, see yourself in flamingo. Find your way there. You know where you're going. Hold here for 3, draw the belly button into the spine. 2, 1, root the feet, squeeze those knees together. Inhale, rise, kick your leg out in front of you. For 3, 2, 1, we're gonna add on to this warrior 3. Kick the foot back, slow and steady. It's almost like that flamingo, right? It's still engaging the core, except our knees are not together. We still feel everything the same, I hope. One more breath. Exhale, flamingo. All we're doing is drawing the knee back into the knee. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower that right foot. Woo, yes. Inhale, sweeping your arms up, interlacing your hands. Push the palms up. Exhale, over to your left. Inhale up. If you need a break at any point, exhale to the right. Nobody's watching. Inhale up. Exhale, release your hands behind your back. Stick the booty out, sternum lifts up. Exhale, forward fold. Hands come down to the ground. Left leg goes back. Lunge, inhale. Exhale, pyramid variation. Take a deep inhale here. Exhale, find your flamingo. Right foot forward, left knee draws in. Whenever you're feeling balanced, bring your palms together. And if you have to have your hands on the ground the whole time, that is perfectly fine. One more breath. Inhale, rise. So I have a slight bend in that right knee so I feel stable. Kick that left leg out in front of you for 3. Square the hips. 2, 1. Exhale, warrior 3. Slow and steady, no rush. The faster we try to move into the pose, the faster we fall out of it. The slower we move, the more control we have. So then if we're gonna fall with a slower fall, maybe we can fix it, right? We can catch ourselves. One more breath. Keeping your torso as it is, draw that left knee into the right knee for a flamingo. Maybe slightly bend that right knee. Left foot lowers down to the ground as we stand tall. Mountain pose. Wrist circles here. We're gonna do a little bit of shoulder work taking our feet so they're wide, right hand to the chest, left chest, and then drawing big circles back and around. Super big. And you can go slow. It's like a softball warm-up or a baseball warm-up if you were one of those athletes. I was a swimmer, so I don't know how to do any of that ball throwing, but I imagine that you would do this, yeah, reverse direction. And allow your hips to move just enough so you can feel a little more mobility in that left shoulder. And then come back down. Close your eyes. Notice one shoulder versus the other. My left shoulder feels more open at this point, and it's my bad shoulder. My right shoulder feels higher than the left. Okay, left hand over to the right chest. Draw the arm forward and back. Forward and back. So I like to start moving forward, up, and back, because that actually feels better in my anatomy. I don't enjoy going back and forward that much. Feels a little stickier, like I can feel more, but I still do it a few times, right? So reverse direction. But if there's something you don't like, don't do it. Whenever I say something you don't like, and if it's like, I don't like it because it's hard, you're gonna still do it, right? But if you don't like it because it doesn't feel good, like it actually feels like it's gonna hurt or pop something, by all means, don't do it. Do what feels right for your body. The last thing you need to do is hurt yourself from doing yoga. And believe me, I've hurt myself doing yoga. It's possible, okay. Bring your hands down, mountain pose. Pause and feel. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bring that hands down as you step the right foot back and allow your foot to lift so you're on the ninth edge side of the pinky edge. And the knee fall down for a lizard push-up. Halfway down and then push back up. You feel that? So it's like a push-up except our knee is out to the side so our chest can come down halfway. We'll do that a few times. So if your wrists are hurting, I like to actually pivot my wrists so they're a little bit, fingertips are a little bit in, versus I usually do this when I'm in downward facing dog, because I feel like it's safer on my shoulders. But play around with it with your hands. You're probably on number 5 at this point, right? Unless you took a break to look at me. We'll assume you're on 5. Inhale, push your hands back into the earth, straighten the arms, pivot your hands so they're for downward dog. And then inhale, kick that left leg up high for 3-legged down dog, and explore your hips here. Maybe you straighten and bend that knee. Maybe you draw big circles with the hip. Feel free to explore your body. One more breath. Inhale, lengthen the left leg. Exhale, take the left knee to the left tricep as you shift your shoulders forward. Inhale, lengthen the leg. This time we're going to add Chaturanga Arms into it. So start to bend the elbows as you draw the knee to the tricep. Inhale. You might not go all the way to Chaturanga Arms. We're just playing with it. One more time. It's like a little push-up. And then inhale, lift. Exhale, left leg lowers. Inhale, lift the heels. Come up onto the toes as much as you can. Exhale. Walk your hands back to meet your feet. Bring your feet hip distance apart. So 2 fists come in between your feet. And then fold forward as you take your peace fingers and grab onto your big toes. Elbows go wide. Maybe you shake your head yes or no here. Inhale, coming up halfway, sliding our hands underneath our feet. So we're standing on the palms of our hands. And try to get your toes into your wrist creases if at all possible. If it's not, and you're here, that's okay. But try to, if you are in this position, try to keep your back of the hand on the ground so it bends at the wrist. And you can bend your knees, and you're just doing like a little wrist stretch here. But if you're able to bring your feet all the way in, fold forward. Elbows go wide for 3, 2, last breath. Inhale, hold at the top. Exhale, release through the mouth. Walk your hands forward. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, bend the knees, step, jump, or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. So we're gonna do that on the other side. Exhale, bring your hands down to the ground. This time the left foot goes back, right leg stays forward. Pivoting onto the outer edge of that foot, knee falls away. Inhale as your arms straighten. Exhale, shift your weight forward and down halfway. Inhale, lift, 5 total. Exhale, down. Inhale. Remember, you can move your fingertips in or out, pivot your hands so it feels good on your wrists and your shoulders. Last one. Inhale. Pivot the hands for downward facing dog. As you inhale, kick that right leg up to the sky and explore. So your version of exploring is going to be different than everybody else's. What do you need to feel? Do you want hips to stay square? Open up the hips, do big circular rotations, lift the heel. There are so many choices that you can do for your body. 2 more breaths. Inhale, lengthen the leg. Exhale, draw the right knee to the right tricep. So maybe you keep doing this. Otherwise, inhale, kick it back up. And exhale, do a slight bend of the elbow. Knee to tricep. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Shoulders try to go over those fingertips. Eventually, that back leg can float off the ground for Ekapada. I ain't doing it. Inhale. Exhale. Lower that right foot down to the ground. And walk your hands back to meet your feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, soften the knees, forward fold, interlacing your hands behind your back and allowing your hands to reach behind you. Releasing your hands, downward facing dog. If you'd like to do a vinyasa, go ahead into plank, upward dog, downward dog. We will wait here for you, about 2 more breaths. Inhale, send that right leg up high. Exhale, bring it through, let it land. As you pivot the back heel down to the ground, inhale, warrior 2. So we're gonna do some shoulder rotations here. Drawing the right hand, palm facing up. Back hand, thumb draws back and around. So our shoulders are actually moving in opposite directions. And then switch. And see if you can gaze over the right hand as you rotate your arms opposite of each other. Slow and steady. Bend a little deeper into the front knee. Last one. And then find your way into normal, whatever that is. Warrior 2 hands. Flipping the front palm, exhale, reverse warrior. Deep, deep side body. Exhale, elbow to knee. Top arm reaches down and up overhead. Extended side angle pose. So the goal here is to have a straight line from that back heel through our fingertips. So usually that right hip is a little higher, so it's not quite a straight line. And that's because we're not bending deep enough in the front knee. That's all about hip mobility. So the more that we can deepen into that front knee, which means we might need to scoot that foot forward, having a larger stance, eventually that line will become straight, okay? One more breath. Exhale, bringing your hands down to the ground, pivoting the back heel over the toes, walking your hands over to the right edge of your mat. And so your toes eventually will follow, and your toes will point towards the edge of the mat where your hands are for steer pose. So you want to deepen this pose, take your left hand to the ground, right arm comes up for a twist. This is a really nice stretch for the IT band, the tensor fascia lata. One more breath. Exhale, hands come down, walk them over to the left for a wide angle Prostarita. I'm going to let you pick your arms, okay? You can either have your hands down beneath you and maybe you play with headstand. Maybe you grab onto your big toes, your shins, or interlace your hands behind your back, forward fold. We're going to be here about 8 to 10 breaths wherever you decided to go. And if you're in a forward fold, notice how much weight is in your heels or your arches, and try to correct that by drawing your weight slightly forward into your toes to even out the weight distribution and pushing out through the edges to engage the legs. Make them strong, make them steady. Exhale, slowly finding your way down if you chose to go into headstand. Bring your hands beneath your head. Inhale, halfway lift. Audible exhale through the mouth. Walking your hands to the back edge of your mat. Pivoting the back heel over the toes. Inhale, take that left leg up high. Three-legged downward dog. Explore. And exhale. Bring the left foot through in between the hands. Warrior two. Inhale. So we're going to play with that shoulder articulation again. Just playing here as they flip internally and externally. And while you're here, maybe you go into a little wider stance between the feet, bending a little deeper into the knee. Belly button draws into spine. One more breath. Warrior two. Flipping your front palm up, reverse dancer's warrior. Exhale, elbow to knee, side angle pose. We'll be here about 5 breaths. If you want to bring your hand down to the ground, go ahead. Like I said, feeling a little lethargic today from the humidity, so I'm going to like 50%. But if you're having one of those days where you're firing at all cylinders and you want to go at 100%, you do you. And if you're having a day where you're just really tired, go to 20%, do a Shavasana for the rest of the class. It's fine with me. Okay. Pivot your back heel over the toes. And we're going to do steer on the other side. So we're walking our hands over to the left. And slowly our feet start to draw, toes pointing towards the left. So you might need to bring your feet a little closer together. If you're feeling really wobbly, just know that the closer together they are, that sometimes that's a little too deep on, I'm going to turn myself so you guys can see. Sometimes I can be a little too deep for the hips, so you choose. Left hand comes down to the ground, right arm comes for a twist if you wanted to do that. Exhale, bringing your hands down to the ground. And then bring your feet a little closer together, Start drawing your knees down, until eventually you come all the way down to the ground, sit bones down, feet near the hips. I need to catch my breath for a second. Okay. So for this pose, if you're feeling both hips off the ground, find a pillow. I have a million over there, I can throw one at you. Place it underneath whatever sit bone's still floating, and then sit back down again. You can also use a block if you have one nearby. That way you can really isolate the stretch in the right parts of the body versus overstretching your back, okay? So you can either have your feet drawing in, and over time, you scoot the feet so they're in the same line, almost like a bicycle handlebars. Inhale, send the heart up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, forward. And whenever you're ready, your head and neck can soften. If you're super flexible, feel free to walk your hands out in front of you, drop down to your forearms, let your head fall down wherever it lands. Pushing yourself up, grabbing onto your feet wherever they are, taking the outside edges of your feet and then starting to lean back. Keep leaning back until eventually your feet lift off the ground and we find steadiness. Yeah, if you fall back, rock and roll yourself back up and then start to kick your feet up into that handlebar position. So it's nice to close your eyes here because this is a right mind, left body kind of thing, and you can like, I'm kicking my right side, now my left side. It's very confusing. So if you close your eyes, sometimes it's easier to find an equanimity in the pose. And then pull your hands into your feet and your feet into your hands to deepen the stretch. Maybe you keep straightening those legs up, up, up to the sky. And then let go. Navasana, uncross. Bring your feet out in front of you, straight legs. Exhale, coming down into your half Navasana, holding here. 3 more breaths. 2, 1, come back up, boat pose. Oh my God, Leslie. And come back down. For 2, 1, come back up to boat. Last one, come down for 1. Exhale, release, mini Shavasana. Taking your feet towards your sit bones, preparing for bridge. So I like to have my feet just a little bit wider than my hips. They're just on the outside edges of where my body is, that lower torso region. And then inhale, come back into your bridge pose. This time interlacing your hands underneath you, straightening the arms as much as you can, shimming your shoulders closer together. Engage the glutes about 50%. 2 more breaths. Exhale, release. Happy baby. So now I have to figure out for the handlebar position which side we already did. We're going to do the other side. So which one did we do? I don't remember. One guy, just give me a second so I can remember what we did. Because it would have been left leg forward, right? So we had the left leg on top. This time we're going to have the right leg on top. So right leg goes on top of the left, knee to knee pose. Once again, find a pillow or a blanket, place it underneath your hips if you need it. You can have your feet as close as you'd like to your hips, and over time we do a little wiggle wiggle until they're in a nice straight line. Inhale, pull the rib cage up. Exhale, fold forward over the legs, and whenever you're ready, head and neck soften as you close your eyes and settle in for about 8 to 10 breaths. Where can you soften? Where can you let go? And then slowly pushing yourself up. Grabbing onto those feet, outer edges. So we're doing the pinky edge side. Lean back, lean back, lean back, until eventually you float up. And then we're going into a modest mass song, but I'm not going to sing it because YouTube has copyrights, right? Float on. Whatever, YouTube. Fun fact, my daughter, Layla, was born to a Death Cab for Cutie song. If any of you listen to that type of music. If you don't know who they are not like a hardcore screaming band. I know the sound of the name sounds that way. Keep kicking your feet into your hands, and your hands are pulling your feet, right? We're feeling that stretch. As we straighten the legs, it moves, it moves. And eventually we're going to find our way back into that boat pose as the feet uncross. And we're going to come down into that half boat again. And we're going to take our legs out wide and cross the right ankle over the left. Legs out wide, left over right. And keep doing that scissor switch. keeping your head and shoulders off the ground if you can. If this is too ridiculous, you can bring your elbows down to the ground, right? Like you're in a lounge chair, and then keep scissor switching here. I'm gonna do that because it feels a little better for me right now. We're gonna do that for 5, 4, 3, 2. Get those core muscles nice and activated. 1. Beautiful. Exhale. Whew. Mini Shavasana. So you can stay here. Or if you want to play with getting into crow, we're going to go into crow for a moment, and then we'll join you back here in about a minute. But if you want to take a little Shavasana break, close your eyes and filter out the words for the next minute. Otherwise, draw your knees into your chest. Rock yourself up into half boat. Full boat. Feet go out wide. Rock yourself forward, Malasana, low squat. Hands come down to the ground. Lift the hips high, crow pose. Maybe you go into headstand from here. As you bend the elbows, chin to chest, head slowly comes down to the ground. Yeah, if you know how to go into tripod headstand, kick your feet up to the sky. Maybe you're still in crow. We'll all join you back in crow as our knees come back down to the triceps. Push your hands, lift the sternum forward, crow pose. Malasana, squat. Back into boat, half boat, mini Shavasana. And we're back with our friends. Wrist circles here. Shake, shake, shake. I'm just gonna get a sip of water. So we're gonna do that one more time. And if you decided to do Shavasana, maybe you just go into that low squat, right? So you don't have to go into crow, you don't have to go into headstand, and I don't recommend going into headstand unless it's something you've practiced a lot and you don't have any neck injuries. If you have pre-existing injuries, it's not worth it. I know it's called the king of yoga poses, but I feel like Shavasana should just be the king and queen of everything, right? Who has a hard time in Shavasana, at least on a physical level? Everything else is a hot mess, but okay. So we're gonna do that one more time, okay? And go where it feels easy for you. Not like not challenging easy, but no fear, okay? As soon as that fear starts talking to you, listen to it, heed it, and then start doing the reverse. Or you just hold crow or Malasana a little bit longer until the headstanders come back to join you, okay? So this is our last little flow until we come back down and start cooling down. Okay, so we're in our little Shavasana, half Ardha Navasana, half boat. Kick the feet up a little higher, chest draws towards the feet. Navasana, rock yourself forward as your feet draw out. Malasana, low squat. Pushing your hands down to the ground. Crow pose. Bakasana as you lift the hips. Get those knees as high up as possible. Shift the chest forward. Lift the feet. If you want to go into that headstand, you have to do a little Chaturanga Arms. Tuck the chin into the chest. Slowly lower the head, nothing too quickly. Squeeze your elbows together as you kick your feet up to the sky. Take one breath there. And then exhale, bring your feet together, knees go wide. Hips hinge. Push your hands, claw the ground. Lift the sternum and chest forward. And if you fall down to your butt, that's okay. It took me about 100 of those before I finally got it right. Malasana, Navasana, Ardha, Shavasana. Wrist circles. So you have to give yourself permission to fall. As long as you are working safely within your body's flexibility and strength, you likely won't hurt yourself because you're listening. The second you stop listening and your ego takes over and you're like, I can do anything, that's when we start to hurt ourselves, And I usually don't hurt myself in the strength stuff, I hurt myself in the passive stretching. So yin, because I'm super flexible, yin is actually not that great for me. I know I should be doing it more, but I feel like that's where my injuries happen because I'm going into my range of motion, right? My deepest range. And yeah, so I like to do more of the Vinyasa, the more strength building, because I feel like it's safer for my body. Maybe one day I'll go to yin, but not right now. Okay, what time is it? Okay, we got about 5 more minutes. You're welcome, Anita. Okay, so we're gonna do reverse plank before we do our final twist. So reverse plank, you have two different options. You can either have straight legs when we go up or reverse tabletop. That is another way. So bring your hands out behind you, right underneath your shoulders, and you can have your fingertips pointing towards your heels or pivoted slightly out so your thumbs are pointing towards your heels instead. Okay, so I'm going to do reverse tabletop first, and then the second one I will do reverse plank because it's way harder. So I'm going to keep my feet about that distance, so then I know when I lift my hips, I'm going to be upside down tabletop basically. So before we lift, I really want you to draw your shoulder heads towards your hips, and try to keep drawing your shoulder heads toward your hips as you lift. Lift, lift, lift. Keep drawing your shoulder blades, shoulder heads towards your hips so you're protracting your shoulders. Keep doing that. Lift the hips, lift the hips. We are still protracting the shoulders, and then you start to look up to the ceiling. If this feels okay, you can experiment with taking one leg out long, just the right, and drawing it back in, and the left leg, sole of the foot reaches down. Exhale, slowly lower. All the way to your back. And we're going to do the other side in a moment. Okay? So I just learned that in Taylor Hunt's workshop, that when we do the protraction of the shoulder blades, it allows us to find more space in the back body. Because usually what happens in these reverse tabletops is what? We squeeze, right? We push the sternum up, squeeze the shoulder blades back, lift the hips. You can try it right now and see how limited that feels in your shoulders and how you're like pinching the back. It doesn't allow you to actually find space. And the point of yoga is to create space. So when we draw our hips or our shoulder heads toward our hips and then lift, all of a sudden we're able to lengthen that spine, and over time, once we start looking up, our shoulder blades can open up slightly here, right? So find your way into your reverse plank or tabletop for 3, 2, and 1. Exhale. Everything down to the ground. Drawing your knees up, arms move out wide, supine twist. You can have your knees stacked together. You can have your legs kicked out long. You can go into eagle legs. And gaze opposite your knees. Close your eyes here. Exhale, taking your, if your knees are over to the left like mine are, we're going to take our right hand over to our left. So we're just laying on one side. And then allow that hand to slide up the arm, a little slow caress until you find your way all the way to your back. And then we're going to switch sides. Knees fall over to the other side as you gaze opposite. So like I said, this is the very last Monday class from me on Breathe Together's YouTube page. If you want to find me in the future, I teach on Zoom for Breathe 8 to 9 a.m. Power Flow. And I also have my own Zoom through Leslie Germain, just my own thing. I'll have one on Monday and Fridays. So find me on Facebook or Instagram. I'll leave the information in the comments, okay? Inhale, knees come back up. Thank you so much for joining me though. These last few months, it's been a pleasure. Give yourself one last hug, squeeze everything in super tight. Imagine I'm hugging you. I do like to hug my students, maybe not anymore, but you know. Exhale, Shavasana. This is my 7-year-old who's gonna turn 8. Leslie, you wanna say hi really quick to the camera? Her birthday's tomorrow. All right, we're in Shavasana, okay? Yeah, so everybody lay down. Find comfort, find ease, however you need to move your body. Maybe you shift the shoulders slightly so you can redissolve, remelt back down into the ground. Keeping your eyes closed. And going in. Listening to your breath again. And we're going to do that square part breath one more time, except this time we're going to hold our breath just a little bit longer, okay? So inhale to the count of 4. 3, 2, 1. Hold for 10 seconds. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 10 seconds. Inhale. Hold for 15. Exhale. Hold for 15. Inhale, find your normal breath, or continue breathing like that. It's 1 o'clock now though, so it's time to end class. If you want to continue your Shavasana, feel free, turn your phone or computer off, lay there as long as you need. I recommend at least 5 minutes. That's the best part of the practice. It's why you worked so hard to get there, so you have no thinking, right? Otherwise, stay with me. As you inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, roll to one side, slowly pushing yourself up to one seat. Like I said, you can stay in Shavasana. Press mute. Okay, and we're going to do one final Om together as we inhale here. Exhale completely, let it all go. Inhale. Hands move to forehead. Be light and shine. Hands back to heart. Be light and love. Namaste. Thank you all so much for joining me this Monday. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful mid-May week. Bye. Thank you, Kumar. Thank you, Eleanor. You guys have a wonderful day as well.